Hi everyone, welcome to Water Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is a replay sent to me by my old mate John 5554. John's driving around in a Tier 9 American auto-loading tank, the T54E1. That's a tank that leads to the T57 Heavy, which is one of my favourite Tier 10 tanks of the game. But in this game, John's in his Tier 9, his top tier, lucky enough to be top tier in this Tier 9 game, and he's on Muravenka. He's heading to the Magic Forest for starters, and without giving too much away, this is going to be a tense finish, and John's going to absolutely devastate the enemy with some auto-loading American shells. He gets a shot into the Leopard PTA, another tank that I've just bought and had for not much longer. It looks like the Leopard might be backing up into John's sights, but he's not spotted again. Type 61, that'll be easy damage all day. Unlucky to miss the second shot, searching for a bit of red outline on either the Type 61 or the Leopard, but they're both unspotted now. The Type 61 looks like he's found a bit of cover, but it looks like he is slowly going up. Looks like he's going to pop a ridge line. John hasn't been spotted yet, I don't think, or he was, but he's probably unspotted now. There's only one artillery on both sides on John's team. The artillery is the Tier 7 German GW Panther. The enemy team, it's the Tier 7 Russian S51. It's a dead end tank. It doesn't really lead to anything else, not on the arty line anyway. But John's decided he doesn't really have any shots there, so he's reloading, get a full clip ready for when he does have shots. And looking at the minimap, John's team has got a pretty heavy presence on the 1-2 line, which is where the heavies generally do their stuff. But it looks like the enemy might have a bit of an advantage in that Magic Forest. It's just John who's on full health, the M46 Patton, which is down to about half health, and the E75, which also seems to have copped a fair amount of damage, probably from that Conqueror or the enemy T54E1. John just searching for a cheeky shot here. Doesn't want to fully commit to the Magic Forest because a lot of the enemy tanks haven't been spotted yet. John's team's already down by 2 tanks, the E75 and the T37. And the T37 was never going to carry this game, but John's just looking for his opportunity. And that Leopard's decided to go wide. John probably hasn't seen him yet, but he looks at that T30, gets a couple of shots into the T30. And now he's realised the Leopard's there. Unfortunate not to get that shot to land, but that Leopard gets taken out by the T30. It's Kate who's camping the red line. John's reloading, but look at the map. That forest has been absolutely overrun, and the poor old Mutz tank, who was in a platoon with that E75, is about to get overrun. He's got to take a bit of evasive action. The Mutz is on full health. He's going to need every one of those hit points. Looks like Artie just fired a shot at the enemy T54E1 by the splash. It doesn't look like they connected. So John's backing right up here. He doesn't want to throw his health away. And that sounded like a big arty shell, but I can't see any damage there. Now the T54E1, even though it's top tier, it doesn't have the best armour in the world, so John needs to be pretty careful here. He's obviously looking for some shots on those medium tanks. Those medium tanks are well covered by the ridge line, but they've also got a bit of backup coming. A bit of help is on the way for the enemy tanks from the forest. Puts a couple of shots into the Conqueror. He's spotted now. Conqueror fires and misses, and John takes out the Conqueror for his first kill. Only takes one damaging shot in that round, and that was from the SU. The SU 12244, which is the Tier 7 Russian tank destroyer. And as John reloads, he's getting right out of the way. The T28 prototype is aiming in the direction John's just come from, and now John's nearly reloaded. He's getting ready to defend. But no shot on the Type 61, so it's a bit of a slow start for John, but he has already picked up 2,365 damage. Getting a good look at that SU-122. Puts one shot into him. Fires again. But the Tortoise takes him out of the game. There's still the T54E1 and the enemy T30 on that eastern side. But he's just noticed that he might have a couple of shots on the 1-2 line. Doesn't want to get overrun by those tanks pushing through the forest. Somehow John's team on the 1-2 line have all worked together and have all brought it back to just about an even ball game now. It was even for a bit. John is nearly ready to fire again. Still doesn't have shots on that enemy T54E1. That enemy T54E1 is doing exactly the right thing. He's using the undulations of the land to keep himself safe. John's looking to make sure that they win this 1-2 line, even though the tanks on John's side are slowly disappearing, slowly getting taken out by the enemy guns. John's not going to give up yet. The E75, a very dangerous tank. John wants to make sure he doesn't end up on full health. Luckily enough to bounce a shot by the E75, but he's not that lucky against the Tiger 2. Tense standoff happening here. There's at least 2 enemy tanks last spotted on the eastern side. A8, the T54E1 was last seen, and the T30 as well, that big dangerous gun. John puts a beautiful shot into the Tiger 2, shoots again, realises it's missed, and that last one takes the Tiger 2 out of the game. Now that enemy T54E1's showing himself, got the Tortoise and the Conway killed, but the T54E1 on the enemy side gets taken out by the T28 prototype. He was only a 1 shot, and the prototype took that shot. Now, no idea where that enemy T30's ended up. John's coming back to help these heavies secure this flank. The Jag Tiger's speed tracked. Unlucky couple of bounces there. Looking for a weak spot. There it is. He gets 800 damage in 2 shots into that Jag Tiger. Takes him down to a bit more manageable level. AT-15 puts a shell into John's side. And John 5554 will be hoping that the T28 prototype's aiming towards that AT-15. I'd imagine you'd think he might have a shot there, but it's hard to say which side of that house he's on. John will say, thank you very much, that's my 3rd kill, but it's 2 versus 4 right now. The Jag Tiger and the E75 on the enemy side. Even though 3/4 of the team went that way, they lost against some pretty good teamwork between the Jag Tiger E75. I'm sure something else was pushing that way, I can't recall, but the T28 prototype takes a shot. John's coming out this way to try and find out where the T30 is. He doesn't want to be sandwiched between the E75, the Jag Tiger and the T30, as well as of course artillery raining from above. The T28 prototype's in a bit of strife there. He hasn't moved from that red line since the start of the game. He has picked up a kill, but I don't know how the T28 prototype's going to go against those 2 Tier 9 tanks. John's going to search for the 3rd Tier 9 tank down here. This is where he was last seen. And he's looking for that T30 to get rid of him. And then he'll take on the last few Tier 9 tanks in the game. Looks like the T28 prototype's getting focused on. The T30 takes him out. Now it's John's turn to do a bit of baseline sniping and try and keep those tanks lit up so that he can put some late damage into them. You can see On the damage counter, John's already picked up 4,804 damage, which you would think would normally be a good game at tier 9. But not being one to give up, he's going to try and take these tanks on just one at a time. And that'll hopefully take away their 3 versus 1 or 4 versus 1 advantage. There's the Jag Tiger. He's only on 42 hit points. First shot tracks him. Second shot kills him. John backs right up and reloads. Reloads premium ammunition this time. In fact, I think that was premium ammunition that he just fired. But he needs to keep moving because that artillery, even though it's only a tier 7, he's going to be able to do a fair bit of damage, especially if it lands on the back deck of John's tank. He's been careful not to knock over any trees because the artillery, as we know, with its bird's eye view, can see what trees are knocked over. He might be tempted to take a blind shot or two because it has got a pretty good reload, the S51. I've never had it, but from what I'm told, it's people I know in MI6 that have got it. It can be a pretty handy tank. Now that T30 can afford to take a shot or two. John puts 2 shells into him. Can he finish him off? You can't see him. He can't see his turret. Artie shoots and misses, which is always a good feeling when those clickers shoot and miss. His rectile's gone a little bit green. He shoots him. He takes him out. He's only got 2 shells left, but he reloads. The E75 is a 1-shot for John. John's picked up 5 kills all of a sudden, nearly 6,000 damage. Now that E75, we saw that he was on less than 200 hit points, which is a 1-shot if it penetrates, and that's probably why John's loading another full clip. John can't afford to take any damage. He's down to 6 hit points. That's not a misprint. He's down to 6 hit points, so he's relocating into the Magic Forest, probably thinking that artillery will probably be aiming around here for him, thinking that he's going to stay behind this ridge line here. So John's going to try and confuse the arty, make sure any arty shots aren't aimed at him. So if he moves into this Magic Forest, he's got plenty of cover there. He's got the gun depression to use these ridge lines, and also make it a little bit harder for the artillery. Even though the artillery hasn't picked up any kills, John doesn't even want to get splashed by that artillery, because 6 hit points is, you can't afford anything. Shot Cat in the Tortoise, just putting in the chat a friendly reminder, there's only 2 minutes to go. Finally sees E75. Looks like the E75's gun was pointed the right way, so John fires clutch and takes him out as the 2-minute siren goes off. Looks like John might be heading straight for the enemy cap. Artie shoots and misses. That was not a bad thing to do by Artie, thinking he's probably around there somewhere. Now, I'm not sure what modifications John uses in his game, whether he knows where the enemy arty might be. Certainly no one said anything in the chat. Now with only 1:25 to go, John rolls onto the cap, but as you can see in the cap timer, it's 1:38 or 1:40 seconds for the full cap. So capping is out of the question. He needs to find that tier 7 Russian artillery piece and get rid of him. It's got a reasonably good view range, the T54E1, so you'd think from where he is, John might be able to spot the artillery if he was down at K1, at least once he gets past these trees. But I think he's decided that he's probably not down there, and the most logical explanation, if the artillery is hoping for a draw, is for him to run up the 1-2 line. So that's exactly what John's doing. The Tortoise is shouting for him to cap. There's not enough time to cap, but there's the S51. The S51 fires, misses, and John takes him out. He actually bounced. Did you see that? He actually bounced that shot from that artillery. That was amazing. The arty didn't miss, he actually bounced. It came up as a black circle in front of John's aim circle, which is part of the 9.6 update. Was any damaged block comes up as like a black circle. But looking at the post-game battle results, an awesome game by John. He's picked himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge as well as a Hand of God. Survive and win the battle, having received damage from at least 4 different enemy vehicles. Bruiser for doing some module and crew damage. Duelist and Fire for effect. He's picked up the Spartan for surviving a ricochet or non-penetrating shot from the enemy when you got less than 10% of your hit points left. A High Caliber. Picked up the Sniper medal for those snipey shots at the start of the game, and also the Top Gun for picking up 6 or more kills. So 7 kills, 6,246 hit points of damage from John 5554 from Pyro Clan. Base experience score of 1483. That's a massive result at tier 9, 1483, and you can see he fired 28 shots, 24 hits. So out of those blind shots, only 4 of them missed. That weren't quite fully aimed. A few of them bounced, but 20 shots did damage. That was enough for 6,246 damage. 1,840 done by more than 300 metres. He damaged 10 out of the 15 tanks, and of course he got the 7 kills. A little bit of spotting damage, and not a bad result at all. Only made 8,000 credits, bottom line, with a standard account. That's because he fired some premium shells, but when he was firing those premium shells, he wanted to make sure that he damaged that Jag Tiger and the E75, those high tier tanks, to get them out of the game, and absolute carry it. Got an experience of 4,449 experience. That's must have been some kind of promotion on, because his base experience is 1483. But a massive score there by John 5554 from Pyro Clan. Always entertaining, John's replays. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.